Did you know that St. Luke's University Health Network has been recognized by the U.S. government as the highest performing health system in the United States for quality? You heard right. St. Luke's #1 recognition affirms our status as the top leader among the most respected healthcare providers in the nation, including Houston Methodist and the Mayo Clinic. To state it simply, if you want to receive the best care when you go to a hospital, come to St. Luke's.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Tuesday, February 17th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Clouds to start this day. Peaks of sunshine this afternoon, high 47. Tonight and overnight, cloudy, low 37. And then Wednesday, we'll have rain in the morning, chance of showers in the afternoon, high 44. If you're walking out the door with us right now, 28 cloudy in Manorville out on Long Island. It's 31 and partly cloudy in Metuchen over in New Jersey. And it's 32 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
Why did a Rhode Island man open fire on his family? Today could be pretty rough for New Jersey transit riders everywhere. One city lawmaker wants to go really hard against those who park in front of hydrants. It seems hardly anybody wants to be a high school ref anymore. And will you really see some money for the potholes destroying your rims? All right, let's get into it at 5:01, getting breaking news in just a short time ago. The Reverend Jesse Jackson, the towering civil rights icon who battled alongside Dr. Martin Luther King back in the 60s, has passed away. He was 84 years old, had a complicated life, but definitely a fascinating one, no two ways about it. Had been sick for a while, been hospitalized since November, but over the years has been battling this lengthy, progressive neuromuscular disease that is probably, in the end, what has done him in, similar to Parkinson's disease. He was a Presidential Medal of Freedom recipient. Do you remember those days back where he negotiated the global hostage releases? I mean, a fascinating life. Went after corporations for their lack of corporate diversity, failure to support voting rights. So the famed civil rights activist, this is what we're hearing from his family. They announced his death just a short time ago, saying he passed away peacefully, surrounded by his loved ones, had been dealing with this neurodegenerative disease for the past decade. Ran for the Democratic Party's nomination back in 1984 and 1988. I think it was 1984 where he called New York City Hymietown. Was it 84 or 80? I don't remember which one. But either way, he did call New York Hymietown, got a lot of pushback for that. Started the Rainbow Push Coalition in 1996, merging two of his civil rights organizations. More on the life of Jesse Jackson, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, of course, coming up this morning, just getting that news in a short time ago that he passed away either last night or early this morning at the age of 84. 5:02, the big story continues to be, here will be the first full-on day of this new New Jersey Transit for the next month. They are working on this bridge over the Hackensack River that is going to slow traffic into the city. Just like a third of the trains that normally come in are going to make it all the way into the city. So if you're somebody who has a Midtown direct train from something like Maplewood, likely you're going to have to go to Hoboken first. So why this is such a big deal is you're now going to take thousands of people off the trains and you're going to put them either onto PATH trains, on the New York waterways, or buses that are already crowded in New Jersey. So today's the first real day, the first test of this new thing that's going to last for about 4 weeks as they do construction on the new Portal Bridge. And yesterday was like a test run of this, but, you know, most people had the day off. But even yesterday, the people were saying it was rough. It was rough getting to and from work.
I say just go there earlier, avoid all traffic in general.
Yeah, got to leave a little earlier, got to be prepared for a couple of delays.
Okay, so the schedules are out. So if you go on to New Jersey Transit's website, you should have a plan in place, by the way, today, because this is going to be your plan, or figure it out for the next month or so, because up to 60% reduction in service. That'll include longer travel times, canceled trains on the Morris, Essex, Gladstone, Montclair, Booton, which are huge lines, by the way, into Midtown. The change will allow crews to start the process of transitioning the old Portal Bridge to the new one. It's going to affect thousands of commuters. They're not happy, of course, because now these buses, which are crowded, are going to be overcrowded. They're worried about the PATH train, if it can handle it.
Honestly, it's very inconvenient for everyone traveling. It's just not good at all.
Yeah, okay. So here's the news that you need to know if you're somebody that's a transit train rider. Is your ticket for the next 4 weeks will be cross-honored, which means you can use it on a PATH train, New York waterway. But again, all those things, budget yourself a lot of time, because even people yesterday, where a lot of people had the day off, said it was rough getting around. So have a schedule in place. And of course, we'll follow that during traffic and transit all morning long. 5:05. A teenager was pulled to safety last night after falling down a shaft on the Queensboro Bridge. The FDNY received a report of a person down the shaft. This was about 9 o'clock on the Manhattan-bound lower level of the bridge. And we were watching this Citizen app video this morning that appeared to show these crews trying to pull this person out, who was a teenager. The FDNY, NYPD working together with ropes to pull this person out of one of the bridge stanchions. It's not clear how he fell in, but this is what we're being told, and thankfully he's okay, so that's the good news, is that he was doing some sort of social media stunt when he fell in. 5:06 up to the Bronx. While we're talking about teenagers, there were a lot of rowdy teenagers taken into custody yesterday during a planned takeover at the Bay Plaza Mall up in the Bronx. Officers responding to this 911 call for a huge crowd, and it was really huge. It was out of control. About 2 o'clock, crowds of kids were seen in the area. They were all called there on social media for this planned takeover. What they were going to do when they got there, it wasn't clear. Helicopters flew overhead.
This is insane. I mean, I haven't seen it this bad ever.
Yeah, so students say it was a boredom that drove them to take over the busy shopping area. The planned event spread through several businesses. A McDonald's right outside the mall. Kids smashed through a front window. Here was a guy inside the McDonald's who said it was all pretty frightening.
A bunch of kids just came in here. It was breaking everything. And I was like, what the hell? I don't know. I was scared for my life, man. I got kids at home.
And another worker at a fast food Mexican restaurant says same thing. All of a sudden, just this huge group of kids ran into his restaurant and started jumping up and down. He wasn't sure what they wanted.
It felt like a good hour of them just bothering us for some reason. The fact that kids were just doing as they please, it's just kind of messed up.
Yeah, so the plan was shared on social media, stating the event would end when the teens were kicked out. Well, eventually they were. It took about an hour or so to clear out the area, but there was a fair amount of damage done and a fair amount of teenagers, that we don't know the exact amount, that were arrested. WABC News Time 5:09. Long Island officials now revealing the name of the woman whose body was found in the woods last week.
Suffolk County Police now say it was Kathleen Harrison Trent they found last Wednesday in the woods off Connecticut Avenue near Ridge Road in Manorville. They also say the 63-year-old who lived on Forge Road in Riverhead was reported missing January 29th, one of the reasons cops were checking the woods to begin with. We still don't know why Kathleen Harrison Trent died. The medical examiner is still working on that. As for other details, police are asking anyone with information to reach out. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
A local senator, part of a bipartisan investigation into AI-powered toys and kids' privacy.
Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal, a Democrat, and Tennessee's Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn saying that Miko Incorporated exposed thousands of recordings of children's voices and personal details before they were taken off the web. The lawmaker also questioning toy makers such as Folo Toy and Curio Interactive as part of a bid to protect kids online, with digital toys becoming more common. James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
WABC News Time 510. NYPD sending this notice overnight. They're asking for the public's help to find two men who stole a car with a 4-year-old boy inside. This was in Prospect Lefferts Gardens. It actually took place back on January 28th, and they have pictures of these two individuals, and we're going to put them up at WABCRadio.com. But apparently this 35-year-old woman left her child in the back seat of her car when she went into a bodega to get something. Never a smart idea. And that's when these two, they think kids maybe, they're not 100% sure, jumped into the car and drove it for a block or so, and then must have realized there was a kid in the back and then ran off. And now here's the woman in the bodega who says that mom was frantic when she realized what had taken place.
I was hearing the mom scream, and she said that she was knocking on the school, she was knocking on all the doors for help.
Police.
Things happening. It was very cold that day. And sometimes when we sleep, and you don't want to take them out because it's cold. It was very cold that day. So I can't imagine.
It doesn't matter how cold it is. You always take the kids out. Police say the duo got away with the driver's purse, which had a cell phone, credit cards, and $400 in cash. But most importantly, they left the kid behind. The kid's fine.
I was scared. I was scared for her. And I can't imagine how she felt. So sad and frustrating. Scary. You just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, again, if you want to take a glance at those two, they look like to be kids, go over to WABCRadio.com. 512 up to Rhode Island, where 3 people are dead, including the gunman, after a shooting in an indoor ice rink in Rhode Island. It happened yesterday afternoon in Pawtucket during a high school boys hockey tournament. It was apparently senior day, and so all these seniors were gathering to be honored and celebrated when police say this dad allegedly opened fire on his own family.
There's 3 additional victims at the hospital that all are in critical condition at this time.
Now, Pawtucket police chief there says the shooter shot himself after the incident. It appeared to be a targeted event, a family dispute, not a random shooting. They say, here's more from police.
The suspect was confirmed as one of those casualties. Later on, we learned that another casualty from the shooting was at the hospital, that they succumbed to their injuries after being at the hospital.
All right, so the 56-year-old father, who was the gunman, who shot 4 family members and a family friend before he turned the gun on himself in this rampage, used the female alias Roberta Esposito, but he was born a man. That's what police chief said during a press conference last night. Everybody, there was a lot of people in this place because it was a day off. They were honoring seniors who were graduating from high school. Here's somebody who saw the shooting take place.
It does. I can't lie. It does hit a lot harder now that I live so close, and these are people, these are schools that I'm so aware of and so familiar with. I see this arena when I pass school every day, but my immediate reaction is just heartbreak. It's so devastating.
Okay, so the New York Post is reporting this morning that the dad was upset with the family members, something to do with the fact that he was trans and that he had made some hostile posts on social media. I'm sure more information on this case will come out as the morning wears on. 5:14, the search for Nancy Guthrie has entered its 16th day in southern Arizona. Correspondent Jennifer Bjorkland reports authorities have been sifting through 30,000 phoned-in tips, but have yet to uncover the one that's needed to bring her home.
Investigators did have a busy weekend conducting several court-ordered searches, but making no arrests. The sheriff's office says DNA from someone other than Guthrie or anyone close to her was collected from her property. They're hoping to match it to DNA on a glove found 2 miles away, which they say is visually similar to ones worn by the subject seen on camera at her front door. We are told preliminary results on the glove have been forwarded now to the FBI. Drones fitted with Blue Fly, which detects devices that emit signals like a pacemaker, have been deployed, and camera caches are being scraped to look for more images of the person seen at Nancy Guthrie's door on that doorbell camera in the early morning hours the day she disappeared. They are looking at some 30,000 phoned-in tips since this investigation began. But as Today Show host Savannah Guthrie posted in her Instagram feed last night, they still haven't gotten that one tip that brings their mother home.
Yeah, and the big part of the story, at least from yesterday, was the Pima County Sheriff confirming that members of the Guthrie family have all been cleared in the disappearance of the 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. He says all the siblings, spouses have been investigated and ruled out in connection with the case, but the investigation remains ongoing. 5:15 now. Let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Ellick.
Good morning to you, Noam Layden. Start here with Olympic action out in Italy. The U.S. women's ice hockey team dominated Sweden 5-0 in the semifinals to advance to the gold medal game later this week. The U.S. offense struck early and often with 5 different goal scorers: Kayla Barnes, Taylor Heisey, Abby Murphy, Kendall Coyne-Schofield, and Haley Skamura, all finding the back of the net. Goaltender Erin Frankel was outstanding once again, earning her third shutout of the tournament with 21 saves in the win. Victory keeps the USA women undefeated at 6-0 in Milan, extending an incredible run in which they've allowed only 1 goal all tournament. I think they've outscored their opponents like 31-1 at this point. They'll meet Team Canada in the gold medal game come Thursday afternoon. They shut out Canada in the preliminary rounds, I believe, 5-0. So hopefully,
can you fight in Olympic hockey or no? Right?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, you can.
mean, yeah, but you get it's a game misconduct, so you at least get thrown out of that game, and then your specific country can further the punishment. So I think France and France and Canada got in a big fight with like 6 minutes left in their game. I think that was it. And the France player got thrown out of that game, the rest of that game, so the 6 minutes left in that game. But then France, the Olympic Committee in France, came back and said, well, you're out for the rest of the tournament. So,
okay, that's a big deal.
Right, but I think the Canadian player, he just missed the rest of that game. He's back in the next game. So, it's up to your country at that point. But the International Olympic Committee is only going to suspend you for the remainder of that game. It's a game misconduct. So, there you go. On the men's side, the qualifying round gets underway today in hockey. Latvia and Sweden will drop a 3:10 p.m. puck this afternoon to see who earns the right to meet the United States in the quarterfinals tomorrow afternoon. In country medal results as of this morning, United States coming in third place still. 19 total medals, 6 of them are gold. Italy in second, 23 total medals, 8 gold. And in first place is Norway with 28 total medals, 12 of which are gold. That is your Sports Noah, man. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:20. Iran is actively pursuing a nuclear agreement with the U.S. At least that's what they're saying this morning. Iran and the U.S. holding nuclear talks in Geneva today, which President Trump spoke about on Air Force One last night.
But typically, Iran's a very tough negotiator. They're good negotiators or bad negotiators. I would say they're bad negotiators because we could have had a deal instead of sending the B-2s in to knock out their nuclear potential.
Meanwhile, the Pentagon not messing around, though. They deployed a second aircraft carrier to the region as the White House weighs military options if these talks do not go well today.
I think they want to make a deal. I don't think they want the consequences of not making a deal. They want to make a deal.
Now, Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu is watching these talks very closely, continuing to insist that any deal between the U.S. and Iran meets certain conditions.
Netanyahu articulated Israel's demands in the negotiations in greater detail than he has before, saying Iran's enrichment of uranium must stop entirely, the equipment needed to enrich in the future must be dismantled, and all enriched uranium must leave the country.
Netanyahu discussed the matter with President Trump at the White House last week, also wants Iran to limit its ballistic missiles program and stop support for proxy forces like Hezbollah and Hamas. Of course, those talks, the assumption is they're underway. We have not seen any pictures of anybody shaking hands, but those talks were set to begin in Geneva this morning. 5:22, the European Union says they will send an observer to this week's meeting of President Trump's new Board of Peace after initially officially declining an invitation to join. Correspondent Ross Cullen has more.
The Board of Peace is designed to oversee Gaza's reconstruction, but the EU has what it says are a number of questions about elements of the board's setup, including its governance and its compatibility with the United Nations Charter.
Now, the EU says the European Commission president was invited to attend, but he will not take, or she won't take part, actually. In a post on Truth Social, President Trump said the Board of Peace members have promised more than $5 billion towards Gaza humanitarian and reconstruction efforts.
Though the EU as a whole will not be officially joining the Donald Trump-chaired initiative, 2 EU member states, Hungary and Bulgaria, participated in a formal signing ceremony last month. Croatian politician Dubravka Šuica will represent Brussels in the US capital later this week for the first formal meeting of US President Donald Trump's Board of Peace. An EU spokesperson said that the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen was invited to the Thursday meeting but will not participate.
That's correspondent Ross Cullen, WABC News Time 523. Let's bring it back home. Out to California, where the rain in California, well, it's causing all kinds of problems. It's flooded freeways and streets in Southern California, stopped planes from taking off from LAX yesterday, even closed Six Flags Magic Mountain, which almost never closes. There are evacuation warnings after mudslide concerns. A lot of this is in the area that was devastated by the fires last year. And so when they get these showers, they just run through these areas. Here's a meteorologist with the National Weather Service.
There will continue to be that threat for some of those runoff problems and getting potential for some of those burn scar impacts. And that's going to be driving areas of heavy rainfall across especially central and southern California as we go through the evening hours today.
Yeah, so this storm dumping some snow, by the way, in Northern California, the Sierra Nevada. But they're watching this morning, at least for those mudslides. And some homeowners, where there are still homes, have been told to evacuate for worries of those mudslides. 524, millions of vehicles with Takata airbags being slapped with a do not drive warning by the National Highway Safety Commission following a recall.
The warning was issued for certain Acura, BMW, Chrysler, Dodge, Ford, Honda, Infiniti, Mazda, Nissan, Pontiac, and Toyota vehicles, including 2007 to 2016 Jeep Wranglers, 2005 to 2015 Dodge Chargers, and 2007 to 2015 Mazda CX-9s. The NHTSA says test data on the defective Takata airbag inflators show a far higher risk of ruptures during deployment than other recalled Takata airbags. Drivers can check with the NHTSA's lookup tool that if their car is on the list, the repair will be done for free at any dealership. I'm Jim Roop.
WABC News Time 525 down to New Orleans. Anti-ice protests have found their way into the Mardi Gras carnival parades leading up to Fat Tuesday in New Orleans. Federal agents are in the middle of an immigration enforcement push there, and ICE is pulling double duty, acting as parade security. But twice now, police had stopped individual floats and ordered the riders, many in costumes and masks, to get off. Cops say those riders have been aggressively throwing beads at ICE agents. The festivities culminate with Fat Tuesday today. 525, Texas congressman concerned about the increasing use of drones by Mexican cartels. Democrat Henry Cuellar says this has become just a huge problem in South Texas as the smugglers leverage the new technology to help them.
Drug cartels are using drones up and down the border. They use that for different purposes. Border Patrol, change and shift, and then all of a sudden you see people just jumping into a car. I mean, they're very sophisticated. They're also learning from what's happened in Ukraine. The drones are using over there. They've attacked some government areas up there around Tijuana.
Yes, and meanwhile, senators say they want a classified briefing so the Trump administration can explain reports about the airspace over El Paso. The airport was closed there last week, so Border Control could use laser technology to shoot down one of those drones. 526, out to the UK, where they're considering a ban on social media for children, all children under 16, as it works to crack down on what they say is harmful content. Rowan Ferguson of the Molly Rose Rose Foundation, which focuses on suicide prevention, believes current law doesn't go far enough to protect kids.
The Online Safety Act is a landmark piece of legislation, and it remains an excellent foundation for protecting our children. But unfortunately, it's just not working as intended.
Now, Britain has a 2023 Online Safety Act viewed as one of the strictest internet safety laws in the world, but it doesn't cover one-on-one interactions with AI chatbots, which is a new thing. A new law would close that loophole.
Our view is that the implementation of the Act is unambitious. It's sort of stacked in favor of industry, of big tech, rather than the needs of children.
And this Online Safety Act, there's some controversy about it because they say it doesn't push the social media platforms to do more to protect children. When we're seeing this play out here in the U.S., as some of these social media platforms are being sued, in one case by a teenager who says it pushed her into depression.
There are quick legislative amendments we can make to address those constraints and make it much more powerful. And then further down the line, we can introduce new legislation that completely transforms the power of the Act as well.
Now, the UK is not alone in looking to strengthen online protections for young people. Australia became the first country in the world to ban social media for all children under the age of 16, rather.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Tuesday, February 17th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Clouds to start this day. Peaks of sunshine this afternoon. High 47. Tonight and overnight, cloudy, low 37. And then Wednesday, we'll see some rain in the morning. Chance of showers in the afternoon. High 44. If you are walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are. 28 cloudy in Manorville out on Long Island. It's 31 and partly cloudy in Metuchen over in New Jersey. And it's 32 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios. If you want to talk a little bit more about this New Jersey transit issue, you'll be facing delays, cancellations for the next month due to work that's now underway on the Portal Bridge. The big test is today. It's the first real commute. And maybe you can make the argument not completely because lots of people are off this week for the president's holiday, but you still have a lot more people will be getting on to PATH trains, New Jersey Transit trains, New York Waterway. They're all going to be more crowded because not all the trains are coming into the city. In fact, 18 of 41 trains per hour are going to make it all the way into Midtown. So it's going to be crowded no matter what you get on this morning.
People are talking about it more online, but, it is what it is. If we had a functioning government which cared about mass transit.
Yeah, it's one of the riders yesterday not too happy about this plan that'll last for about a month or so. The president of New Jersey Transit said this new bridge is going to make things smoother, and so you just have to get through this rough time over the next
month. We have a very robust bus service as well that is completely uninterrupted. Path is going to be, we're going to cross on our path and the ferries.
Okay, so these modified train schedules are underway today. Some consolidations, some cancellations should be expected, but today's the first real run of this thing.
We'll have to readjust. It's going to be a long time. And they say March 15th, right? Let's say March 30th.
Yeah, some people don't believe it'll be just a month. New Jersey Transit asking for riders for patience while it reduces service from 48 to 18 trains per hour over the next 4 weeks. 5:43, while we're talking about trains, let's head out to the LIRR, which has stepped up its crackdown on fare beaters, which includes these strict new rules that some riders are really unhappy about. You can no longer hide from the conductor by changing seats or making a beeline for the restroom, because now they're going to check to make sure that you've opened your ticket on your phone before you get on the train. So a lot of people, they won't open their ticket till they're on the train because they're hoping that the conductor doesn't come by to then scan their ticket and they can use it for another day. Those days are over. If you don't activate your ticket before you get on a train and they get up to you and you haven't activated the ticket, they can slap you with an 8-hour penalty now, which seems a little outrageous. Riders think the same way.
They charge me $8 for being late. Yeah, that's not. I can't see how that's fair. $8.
even $1, like, it's ridiculous. It's a shame, for people that just might have forgotten to have gotten it before getting on.
Honestly, I've taken the railroad for many, many years, and there are often times that they don't even look at your ticket.
Right, and so they didn't look at your ticket. You'd hold on to it for another day. Same holds true, but no longer those days are over. The MTA struggling to control fare evasion, whether it's on subways or the commuter rails. They say lost about $46 million in unpaid tickets on commuter lines back in 2024 alone. So now enforcement has stepped up. The restroom riders no longer will be able to do that, hide in the bathroom the whole time that they're there. If they do come out and their ticket hasn't been opened, they'll get that 8-hour penalty.
The conductors are increasingly aware of it and paying attention to that. And our passengers also. I've been on the railroad a couple of times when there are people who are like monopolizing the bathroom for that purpose.
Yeah, that's the MTA's Jenna Lieber talking about this new enforcement. Longtime commuters say those unused tickets used to be good for 60 days, but that's no longer.
If I don't take this train, it expires in an hour. So if I miss this train, I would have to buy another ticket, which I think is really unfair for the rider.
Well, especially since fares are going up and continue to go up. 5:45. Let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and here's Justin Eller.
Thank you, Noam. Later. Start out here with the Olympics. The U.S. women's ice hockey team dominated Sweden 5-0 in the semifinals to advance to the gold medal game later this week. U.S. offense struck early and often. 5 different goal scorers: Kayla Barnes, Taylor Heisey, Abby Murphy, Kendall Coyne, Schofield, and Haley Skamura all finding the back of the net. Goaltender Erin Frankel was outstanding, earning her third shutout of the tournament with 21 saves in the win. The victory keeps the USA women undefeated at 6-0 in Milan, extending an incredible run in which they've allowed only 1 goal all tournament. They'll meet Team Canada in the gold medal game come Thursday afternoon. On the men's side, the qualifying round gets underway today. Latvia and Sweden will drop a 3:10 p.m. puck this afternoon to see who earns the right to meet the United States in the quarterfinals tomorrow afternoon. Country medal results as of this morning: USA coming in at third place, 19 total medals, 6 gold. Italy in second, 23 total medals, 8 gold. And Norway in first place right now with 28 total medals, 12 of which are gold.
Now, do we normally do better, or is this about where we usually are in a Winter Olympics?
I think in the Winter Olympics, this is usually where we're at.
We never get the most.
No. We're not very good at cross-country skiing, and we're not very good at the biathlon, and we're not very good. Speed skating we're okay at. I know that. The other curling I know we're very good at. We're defending gold medalists in curling. But other than that, I'm not really sure where we're picking up a lot of our golds. And to be honest, it's not like you get a gold medal every time you win a men's ice hockey game. You got to win the whole tournament.
Right.
So it's, I think in terms of the impact that these games are having, you only come home with 1 gold medal for all of these wins on the ice. And, as we are asserting our dominance, the USA women's and the men's hockey team so far, nothing really to show for it until you win that gold medal. And it only counts for 1 gold medal. So, in terms of the country tally, it doesn't do much. So, what are you going to do, Noam Layden? Wait till the Summer Olympics, all right?
Yeah, usually we dominate there, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, big time. Track and field, baby. Come on. That's your sports. I'm Justin Ellick, 77 WABC.
WABC News Time, 5:49. New York City council member proposing legislation that would create harsher penalties for people who block fire hydrants with their cars. I mean, you really got to be a putz to do that. It comes after a fire in Queens killed an elderly man over the weekend. A car was parked in front of a hydrant. Now, it's not clear that had anything to do with the delay of getting to this individual, but the FDNY deputy chief who was at the scene of this fire said, he sees this all too often, people parking in front of a fire hydrant.
It seems to be an issue throughout the city where residents are parking on hydrants, so it is definitely a problem.
And Queens City Council member Joanne Ariola, she's upset about this, so she's proposing legislation that would increase the financial penalties for people who block a fire hydrant, and she would do these financial penalties would go up big time.
Seconds count when fires are being fought.
Yeah, so she's chair of the Committee on the Fire and Emergency Management, and she said that people should be held liable for criminal negligence if the fire results in injury or death. And she points to a 9% increase in 311 calls for blocked hydrants just from this time last year. So this is what she's proposing.
Would increase the fines that make a person held liable for criminal negligence if the fire results in injury or death. We would like to also increase the fire hydrant summonses from $115 to $1,000 because that would make a person think twice before they park in front of a hydrant.
Yeah, well, but the only problem is trying to collect that $1,000. 5:51, 2 men detained Sunday by ICE agents near a church in Union City, New Jersey. The parish leaders say the men were just about to head into the Cristiana Dios de Amor Church on 19th Street to attend Sunday services when they were grabbed and cuffed by ICE agents. The pastor's wife, well, she watched this all play out on Sunday morning.
Very hard. Very hard. It's good, guys.
A Department of Homeland Security spokesperson says ICE did not target or raid the church. They say the agents were conducting a targeted surveillance for more than a mile before the stop and arrested an El Salvadorian, Emilio Ruiz Escoval, who was issued a final order of removal after failing to show up for an immigration hearing. The other man, Oscar Gonzalez, is a Guatemalan who entered the U.S. illegally. Church members say both of these men are good men, but apparently they were here illegally.
You know, the members, for what I know, they were crying and praying, and we're still praying for them because there's a God out there that I know he's going to take care of it.
Congressman Robert Menendez Jr., who serves this district, says the arrests outside the church upsetting to church members and people in this neighborhood.
The fact that this happened yesterday outside a church is outrageous and should enrage every single American. With respect to places of worship, as you know, these used to be off limit.
The Department of Homeland Security, though, saying that those in the U.S. illegally should take advantage of an offer of $2,600 and a free flight to self-deport right now. 5:53, neighbors out in Comac on Long Island talking about this early Sunday morning shooting. Police say shots were fired about 2:15 in the morning at someone inside a car on Comac Road. They see the person who had the gun was likely in another car. Now, police have not said what exactly happened to this victim, but he was released from the hospital. They've given limited information about the incident itself, not saying whether the individuals knew each other. Now, this took place in an area where sometimes people drag race, so maybe it's connected to that, but we don't know for sure. Neighbors trying to figure it out, too.
It's a complete surprise to us, of course. I mean, we didn't know anything was going to happen. There's been street racing on the street before, but, this is the first time we've ever heard of anything like this.
Yeah, so neighbors say while street racing is pretty common Saturday nights in that area, that's when the shooting took place. Well, it was actually early Sunday morning. They've never experienced gunfire, but so far police have not released a whole lot of information on this incident. 5:54, scholastic sports are growing. Doesn't matter what community you live in, there just seems to be more sports available to more kids, and kids are signing up for all kinds of things. But there's one issue, is they can't find enough refs to police these events. In Westchester, up in the Hudson Valley, there's this one ref who's been a basketball ref for like 20 years now. And he says the real reason people don't want to become refs at like public school games is because fan behaviors become so hostile that it's hard to recruit and retain referees because nobody really wants to go through having parents and kids yell at you during some sort of wrestling match, a basketball game, ice hockey.
The individual yelled even louder, "I will stop yelling when you start making the proper calls." At that point, I said he needed to leave the facility.
Yeah, so he's had these awkward moments, terrible moments, potentially frightening ones, where he's had to deal with hostile people yelling at him during programs or during games. 57,000 student athletes in the Hudson Valley. That tells you how many refs they need. They have new programs in like wrestling, girls hockey, boys volleyball. Some of these programs have doubled or quadrupled, and so they need those refs. But if you're hostile to the refs, nobody wants to work a game.
People see through social media what goes on, yelling at referees getting hit.
And so what's happened now is there's been this onset of private sporting events where they hire their own refs. And a lot of these refs who worked for public schools say, wait a minute, these are less hostile. They're more security. And so I'm going to go work for these private wrestling clubs, private basketball clubs, forget doing high school sports.
I do think it's the increase of the privatized leagues. Our umpires have been drawn to those leagues rather than the public school.
Yeah, and it's become a real issue is getting the refs to show up to these games. If you're fed up with potholes, you're not alone. There is a push at the state level here in New York to help with the cost of damage they leave behind. Drivers have these big bills to show for potholes. It's really bad because the winter's been so bad.
Well, my hubcaps are gone from hitting the potholes every day. Pothole, no, I'm not even exaggerating. Some of them are so deep, the tire was like leaning in it.
The car hits a crater and you're saying, I hope I didn't bend my rim.
Right, so the issue becomes who does have to pay for that? If it's a state road or a county road, shouldn't they have to pay for not filling these potholes fast enough? And some of these potholes are gigantic. So State Assemblyman Matt Slater has introduced legislation up in Albany to help in the aftermath of these dreaded potholes.
The two most frequent calls I get in my district office is about the energy bills, which are sky high and backbreaking, and about the road. What this would do is allow motorists who damage their cars, whether pop their tires, bend their rims, any kind of sustained damage on a state road from a state pothole, they can submit for up to $1,000 tax credit to cover the cost.
All right, so there is a fair amount of lawmakers who are on board with this idea. It hasn't passed yet, though.
I luckily haven't got a blown out, but until that happens, I'll send you guys the bill.
Yeah, so in the meantime, drivers are encouraged to call the DMV if you see, especially like a large-sized crater in your neighborhood.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?